After the Liu family went bankrupt, I plucked up the courage to confess to Liu Nguyen, but she slapped me hard. You are just a dog raised by our Liu family. How dare you? Liu Nguyen couldn't stand the blow of falling from the clouds to the mortal dust and gave up on himself. I went from a young talent praised by everyone to Liu Nguyen's licking dog. On Liu Nguyen's wedding day, I took my girlfriend to the wedding. Liu Nguyen was red in his eyes and held my hand. Zhou Qi, do you really want me anymore? When I received Liu Nguyen's call, I was enduring a stomach ache to catch up with the plan. Liu Nguyen disliked that the house we lived in was too small, so I could only desperately earn money and change to a bigger one early. Zhou Qi, come to Pop to pick me up. Liu Nguyen hung up the phone after saying that. Since the Liu family went bankrupt and I confessed to her, she no longer wanted to say a word of nonsense to me. I grabbed the key and rushed towards Pop. It was late. She was afraid that she would lose her temper again. When I arrived, Liu Nguyen was sucking a card with his mouth and leaning on the mouth of the boy next to him. I have always been very tired of this kind of vulgar game between men and women, and when I was about to step forward to pull Liu Nguyen, the card fell off. The mouths of the two were stuck together, and the boy took advantage of the situation to clasp the back of Liu Nguyen's head and deepen the kiss. There was applause around. I angrily stepped forward and pulled the two of them away. Liu Nguyen's lips were red and swollen, his eyes were blurred, and the moment he saw me, he regained his clarity. Her hand, which had healed my wounds, was now mercilessly waving at my face. Zhou Qi, your brain is in water. The people around us all looked at us with schadenfreude faces and laughed. I took her hand as if no one was around, smiling gently. Why do you use so much force? My hand doesn't hurt. The people in the private room burst into laughter. Naran, it's easy to ask for priceless treasures. It's rare to have a lover. You should hurry back and don't let others down. Liu Nguyen's face turned pale, and she pulled her hand back and sat back in the sand. Sneered. Just him, he deserves it. Then he waved his hand at me impatiently. Get out and wait. I stepped forward to pull her up, and the second young master of the Su family, who had just kissed her, Su Yuan, stood up and stood in front of me, looking me up and down with a disdainful face. Then he picked up a bottle of wine with English written on it from the table and handed it to me. Drink. I'll let Nuo Ran go with you. The people in the private room kept coaxing, and I picked up the bottle of wine, and my stomach hurt even more. I looked at Liu Nguyen's long eyelashes, which formed a small shadow under my eyes through the light, which was really beautiful. After drinking a bottle of wine, my stomach was on fire. When Liu Nguyen was taken away, the people in the private room were still mocking. Do you see it? High foreign wine. Drink it all in one go, and your face will not change color. This is the highest state of being a licking dog. I threw Liu Nguyen into the car and rushed all the way to the small dilapidated rental house we rented. Liu Nguyen was carried on my shoulders the whole time, scratching my head and face constantly, and when she entered the house, she was finally tired. She lay on the bed. Let me help her take off her shoes and socks, remove makeup, take care of her skin, and then resign myself to feed her sobering soup. She leaned on the head of the bed and said mockingly, Zhou Qi, you really have no dignity at all. She suddenly climbed up my neck and fanned her eyelashes. Zhou Qi, do you really love me so much? In a trance, I seemed to have returned to 10 years ago, the day of my birthday. That year, Liu Nguyen was 15 years old and I was 18. I was admitted to the best university in the country, and the Liu family held a very grand birthday party for me. There are all voices praising Liu's parents, for example, praising them for being blessed, and the adopted children are so promising, and some praise them for being kind and loving. Even if they are not biological, they will be treated equally. Nuo Ran has such an excellent brother as a role model, and he will definitely be excellent in the future. The Liu couple was very embarrassed, because the year-old Liu Nguyen was in a period of rebellion, and the former rich lady had transformed into a little sister. The Liu family has also become a joke in the circle. At that time, Liu Nguyen, who was wearing colorful makeup, blocked me in the stairwell, grabbed my hand, and groped it on her chest, while nibbling on my face. I kept my mouth tightly closed and looked at her coldly, motionless. She saw that I didn't react and got angry. Didn't you say that you can fall in love at the age of? I took out the wipes in my pocket and carefully wiped her spent lip makeup. Silly girl, don't make trouble. There are many people in the family today. Change this outfit. She looked at me amusedly and circled her hand around my chest. Okay, I will wear whatever you ask me to wear. Until the end of the banquet, Lu Nuren did not show his face, and he didn't know where he went to play. The crowd dispersed. Mr. Lu picked up his riding whip and whipped me. I stood there, gritted my teeth, and didn't dare to move. Nuo Ran is the only heir to my Lu family. Don't try to seduce her and occupy everything in my Lu family. Mrs. Lu was drinking tea while watching the play. Mr. Lu was tired, and after he left, Mrs. Lu slapped me in the face with a noble face. Nuo Ran just thought it was fun, but let me find out that you had a mind that you shouldn't have moved, and I will kill you. At night, I was practicing calligraphy in the bedroom, and the locked door was kicked open by Lu Nuren one after another. She rushed over and was about to pull my clothes. I couldn't struggle with her. After all, my whole back hurt when I moved. Lu Nuren cried while applying medicine to me, and then kept apologizing to me, saying that he had hurt me again. I wiped away her tears. Uncle Lu is also worried about you. Next time you go out to play, remember to tell your family. From that day on, Lu Nuren was no longer rebellious. His colorful hair was dyed back black, and the messy nails on his body were removed. Although she still doesn't like to study, at least she looks clean and has returned to the appearance of a normal child. Together with her, there are also the Lu family couple. They went from calling me every 3 or 5 days before, and occasionally venting their anger on me in a bad mood, to ignoring me. The quiet days lasted until Lu Nuren graduated from high school. At her graduation ceremony, I learned that she had studied obediently in exchange for me to live a stable life. The burning sensation in my stomach made me fall asleep several times. Until there was a hurried knock on the door, I endured the discomfort and opened the door by willpower, and the dazzling light came in, and I fainted before I could see the appearance of the person in front of me. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. Assistant Joey's eyes were slightly swollen, and when he saw me wake up, he cried and laughed again. While touching my forehead, he handed me a water glass and kept asking me if it still hurt. I gently looked away and resisted her touch. Joey is the only one I personally recruited, serious, hardworking, not smart, and not highly educated. However, if you look closely, it looks a bit like Lu Nuren. So even if she makes a mistake, I can always forgive her easily. Perhaps out of gratitude, Joey works very hard and takes care of me in the company. She orders me food when she works overtime, and when she returns to the company after socializing, she will also prepare sobering soup. And I wrote them down one by one, took my own money, and put it into her salary. I picked up my phone and there was no news. Dialed to Lu Nuren, no one answered. Thinking that the mess in the house hasn't been cleaned up yet, and that she has a cleanliness habit, I have to hurry back to clean up the room. Joey stopped me with red eyes, and I said coldly, "Either you drive me home, or I'll take a taxi back myself." When I got home, I started cleaning up the house, but at some point Joey also entered my house. When I tidied up the bedroom and walked out, the kitchen and living room also changed, and when I looked up, it was Joey, who looked at me flatteringly and smiled. That expression was like a kitten waiting for the owner to praise. I coldly said, "Who asked you to come in? You don't have to do these things, you can go." After the eviction order was issued, I continued to tidy up Lu Nuren's clothes. My body hasn't fully recovered yet, and I can only press my stomach to relieve it. Joey stepped forward and tore off my clothes. She is not worth it at all. I took the dress back and carefully smoothed out the folds. "You've crossed the line, Joey." Joey threw me on the bed against all odds. She is not tall, but her strength is not small, and I am sick, so I can't push her away at all. She kissed me and said, "When I came to you, I happened to see Miss Lu getting into a sports car downstairs. Why are you still guarding such a woman?" I pushed Joey away in a sweat. "This is my home and no Rans. Please leave." Joey saw that I was not feeling well, so he stopped insisting and turned to leave. I put the last piece of clothing in Nuren's closet. Home has become clean and warm again. When he first moved in, Lu Nuren was very resistant. She has been living in a house only the size of her former bedroom. She cried and shouted for me to find a bigger one, and I put the passbook in front of her, which was only a few tens of thousands of yuan. I held her in my arms and told her gently and firmly that I would definitely let her live in a big house in the future. Lu Nuren slapped me. "What are you? What I Lu Nuren want? You can't afford to give it in your life. I didn't speak. I just looked at her quietly, and she finally collapsed, crying, Zhou Qi, I only have you. She said at the time that she only had me. Lu Nuren is the eldest lady of the Lu family, and she is used to being served. Even if she goes bankrupt, she will never wrong herself. I handed her the salary card. Miss Lu has to work hard. 20,000 a month, not enough Lu Nuren flowers. I took on private work day and night. I was so sleepy at night that I couldn't open my eyes. Lu Nuren also shouted for me to go out to buy crayfish for her. Seeing that I didn't respond, she turned over and fell asleep angrily. Lu Nuren is very beautiful, and even more so after falling asleep, like an angel. I can't remember how long it has been since I didn't look at Lu Nuren sleeping so well. There was a knock on the door. It was a delivery man. Joey was still worried about me, so he ordered me hot seafood porridge and a small alarm clock that had been timed, saying that he would remind me to take my medicine on time. I put the porridge on the table and stared at it all night. Lu Nuren didn't come back. The sky turned white. I finally felt a little hungry, just opened the cold seafood porridge, and Lu Nuren's voice sounded in the drawer of the bedside table in the bedroom. Zhou Qi. Hello, today is the 3rd year we have lived here. Where are we living now? I picked it up, and it turned out to be a message pen. I have been here for 3 years, and I have no idea about it. Looking around, I smiled helplessly. How about the cleanliness of the room? I still failed to fulfill my promise to Lu Nuren. On the way to the office, I threw porridge and a small alarm clock into the trash can downstairs, then submitted the resignation letter. When Joey chased after her, I kept a distance of 1 meter from her. Miss Chiao, please respect yourself. Joey held back the tears in his eyes and took out his phone to show me. Above, it was Lu Nuren in a certain villa, drinking and chatting with several men. Around, there are also a group of rich 2nd and 3rd generations. I chuckled. It's just drinking. What does Miss Chiao want to say? Joey angrily took back his phone. Zhou Qi, you are obviously a noble and cold person. Why do you want to do this in front of Lu Nuren? Nobility? I laughed out loud again. Joey, don't you know, I'm an orphan. Joey's eyes widened, unable to believe it. I was thrown into the trash can by my parents when I was just born, and it was freezing, but they didn't even give me a single piece of clothing. If it weren't for the well-wishers in society who heard my faint cry, I was afraid that it would end up being a feast for mice. When I was years old, Lu Nuren was taken to my welfare home by my parents. Lu Nuren shouted that he wanted an older brother to protect her at school and stand up for her. So, she fell in love with me, who was fighting with her friends at the time. Lu Nuren's parents ed on her very much, and even if she wanted the stars in the sky, they would spend money to name the newly discovered asteroid Nuren. Adopting an orphan that no one wants is nothing. When I first entered the Lu family, I was full of hostility. I knew very well that they looked down on me, and I couldn't get used to them myself. So he was beaten by Mr. Lu. Lu Nuren has no sympathy since she was a child, but for some reason, she is only different from me, and every time I am beaten, she will take the initiative to stand up to protect me. Being protected by a little girl's film, I was even more hostile. Every time he was beaten so hard that he couldn't get out of bed, Lu Nuren would come to me with food, eat me in a bite, and give me medicine over and over again. Gradually, I accepted the Lu family, and although they ignored me, they gave me the best resources, so I didn't have to use them in vain. When I won the first prize in the national physics competition for the first time, the principal couldn't help but praise me in front of Mr. Lu, and told Lu Nuren, who was always at the back of the crane, to learn from me. Mr. Lu looked at me coldly and said, my family Nuren doesn't have to do anything, and there is money that can be spent for several lifetimes, so there is no need to work so hard to please others. The pride in my eyes was extinguished again. Lu Nuren was angry because of this sentence for a long time, until Mr. Lu agreed to hold a cocktail party for me to celebrate my award. Lu Nuren shook my arm. Zhou Qi, you are the most powerful. Leaving the company, I went straight to Su's house. When Joey showed me the photos just now, I recognized that it was Su Yuan's private villa, and I had been there with Lu Nuren once a long time ago. Sure enough, I saw them pulling at the door. Su Yuan walked forward tiredly. Lu Nuren cried, picked up the bricks on the ground, and smashed them at Su Yuan. You scumbag, I'm pregnant. You don't admit it if you don't admit it? I froze in place. My brain was blank, and my hand in my pocket was holding the diamond ring box tightly. but I couldn't feel any pain at all. Su Yuan covered his head and turned around angrily, reaching out to pinch Lu Nuren's neck. I stepped forward and pulled Lu Nuren behind me. Su Yuan looked at me and smiled strangely. Lu Nuren, someone is here, don't put all the on my head. Lu Nuren hurriedly walked out from behind me and took Su Yuan's arm. Su Yuan, you know, I only have you. Su Yuan immediately shook off in disgust. I really don't know this. You don't sleep with me every day.